Good evening. This is a talk, an evidence and experience based talk on what I believe to be the pillars of health. The symbol on screen is the Celtic triangle, representative of mind, body, and spirit, among other things. It also represents the symbiosis and interconnectedness that exists between these things. I want you to keep this theme of symbiosis in mind as we discuss the pillars of health tonight. Exercise is medicine. Yep. It's the single most powerful longevity drug on the planet. Improved cardiovascular health, metabolic health, muscle strength, flexibility, body composition. The list goes on. The research tells us with great clarity, the more we do, the better off we'll be. Regular exercisers have been shown to live for up to a decade longer. Yet despite this, we're sitting more than ever. The British Heart Association reported working adults are sitting for 9.5 hours a day. Adults aged 65 to 74, 10 hours a day. Adults aged 75 plus, 11 plus hours a day. We're human beings. We're not sedentary beings. Our bodies crave big, varied movements involving all major muscle groups. We're not built to sit down. And the alarming thing is that even if we do meet the physical activity guidelines, but lead a sedentary lifestyle outside of that, we're at an increased risk of cardiovascular, metabolic disease, and all-cause mortality. It does not have to be complicated. Steve Magnus is a peak performance specialist, having worked with athletes of an Olympic caliber and companies of the same standard. Move for your physical and mental health. Walk, jog, run, cycle, dance, for all I care. Get out there and move. And a layer up from that movement is to do hard things. Damian Brown is an extreme adventurer. He says doing hard things with meaningful and purposeful endeavour. The rewards are extraordinary. The reward is finding out what's in there, who you are. Because stress exposes us. It rips away that mask. And we get to go into the depths of our soul by doing things that make us feel alive, doing what we are afraid to do, because growth and comfort can't coexist. Move, do hard things. Sleep, poor sleep, high stress. It's a feedback loop. And when I reference poor sleep, I'm talking about quality and quantity. Hormonal imbalance. Cortisol, which is our stress hormone, will be elevated. Leptin, which is our hormone that regulates appetite, will be suppressed. Ghrelin, our hunger hormone, is elevated. So we're left in this vicious cycle of high stress, craving poor food, making poor food choices. Remember, symbiosis. We're at a higher risk of cardiovascular and coronary heart disease, metabolic disease such as type 2 diabetes and obesity. Our mental health, memory, and cognition. Sleep deprivation is acute. 1 or 2 missed nights sleep a week. Water off the duck's back, nothing major. But we almost always underestimate our sleep deprivation. The likelihood is that everyone in this audience, including myself, is sleep deprived to a certain degree. 9 different studies have shown that sleep deprivation increases insulin resistance by up to 33%. Insulin is the hormone that regulates our blood sugar levels. We've increased insulin resistance. We've elevated blood sugar levels. We're at an increased risk of metabolic disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. In terms of our sleep quality, I'll reference our behavioural patterns, our environment. Dr. Peter Tierney refers to this 10-3-2-1. Caffeine, eating, work, screens. And if you can be off your screen more than an hour before bed, even better. Our behavioural patterns, our environment. Is our sleep and wake time consistent? Is it a cool, dark room? Even small little lights from sockets, chargers, phones, wherever it is. His namesake, Dr. Peter Attia, summed it up beautifully for me. A good night's sleep may be in large part dependent on a good day of wakefulness. When we're outside, moving our bodies, not sat down for too long, not on our screens for too long, eating well, connecting with each other, live to sleep. Nutrition and cooking. My philosophy with nutrition and cooking is a simple one. try to eat single ingredient whole foods, and I cook or prepare 80% of the food that I eat. Whole foods have been refined or processed as little as possible. They're close to their natural state. Unfortunately, in the Western world, nearly 60% of the food we eat is UPFs, or UFOs as I like to call them. These unidentified flying objects floating around our bloodstream, and we have no idea of the true extent of the damage that they're causing. What we do know is that they leave us at an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, cancer, and depression. 60% of the food we eat made up of these ultra-processed foods. The graph on your left of the screen focuses on the obesity trend in different regions across the world from 1975 through 2016. The blue and red lines, unfortunately, the USA and Europe. I guarantee you, if we had a graph up there following the trend for the mass production and consumption of ultra-processed foods, it would follow a very similar trend. Don't overcomplicate it. Jerv, just eat real food. Home-cooked meals. An increased frequency of home cooking has been cross-sectionally associated with markers of a healthier diet, both in terms of our cardiovascular and metabolic health. Cook for the psychological benefits, the curiosity, the creativity that we can tap into. It's powerful. Eat socially. And I'm not talking about going out into town, getting takeaways every night of the week. Eat with family, eat with friends, share that experience. We often hear the Mediterranean diet as this holy grail. For me, it's not so much the Mediterranean diet, but the lifestyle. They eat together almost every single day. Food that is prepared with love and shared with love. Granted, they spend larger times outside, which is dependent on climate. They move, they have that siesta, but they make a point of sharing that experience of mealtime with loved ones every single day. Practice mindful eating. When you're eating, eat. Don't be on your phones. Don't be watching the telly. Focus on the food you're eating. Savor it. Don't devour it. Be grateful, not gluttonous. This leads into the last one. Eat less, live longer. We live in this world, we can have any food we want. Click of a button, pull of a door. Just because it's there doesn't mean we need to overindulge. Harry Hachibu is an old Japanese custom for only ever eating until we're 80% full. Substance minimization. Alcohol and other substances serve no nutritional or health purpose. This is a talk on health. So why has the National Drugs and Alcohol Survey reported an increase in the use of stimulants? 1 in 5 have an alcohol use disorder. This increases to 1 in 3, age 15 to 24. Oftentimes we're after that short-term intoxication effect, the quick fix, feeling high, but it's almost always accompanied with feeling low, anxious, or depressed after. It can have very unpredictable effects on people's moods. Make our behaviours impulsive. Suicidal thoughts are not uncommon. Post binges on alcohol. Cocaine and other stimulant drugs mess with our norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine levels. I'm not standing up here telling you not to drink. But to be healthy is a journey of purity. There is no purity in intoxication. It's a mask. If you do drink, be mindful. And definitely do not drink to become someone else. I've included a device that most of you probably have in your pockets here tonight in this section of the talk, our mobile phones. It can become a dangerous addiction. They affect the same dopamine reward loop as stimulant drugs. Most of the time we're on that godforsaken thing. We're comparing ourselves to others. I wish I looked like that. I wish I had that. Be careful. It got to the point for me where I write out in my journal every night. Connor will turn off his phone at 8 p.m. and not turn it on again until at least 7 a.m. I do that in the third person because it exerts that I have a higher degree of control over the situation. Now we're on to the juicy ones. Person on screen is a member of a living Apache tribe of Native American Indians. They lived a life of grand simplicity on a material and spiritual level, referring to this collective consciousness, this sacred oneness that we're all a part of, a spirit that moves through all things. Only through love for all people and all things can we ever hope to make a difference. And that starts with love of self. Love of self without being selfish cultivates a love for everyone and everything else. Be vulnerable, be honest, be who you are. And in being who you are, you open up yourself to having real, genuine connections with others. Relationships, nurturing those relationships with family, friends, community. That gives us that sense of purpose, belonging, feeling like we can add value. This is no secret. Deci and Ryan's self-determination theory, one of the most famous or motivational psychological theories out there, refers to this innate need we have as human beings for belonging, sense of purpose, like we can add value. And within those social connections, I'd encourage you to do things unconditionally. We live in a world where subconsciously, when we do something, we expect something in return. Do things unconditionally, without judgment, without any expectation of reciprocation. Do things with love, not for love. Nature connection. There's a growing body of research out there linking time spent in nature with our physical and mental health. Fractal patterns. These repetitive geometrical patterns in nature, mountain ranges, rivers, tree canopies, they have been shown to reduce physiological stress by up to 60%. It takes our brains 50 milliseconds to recognize a fractal pattern. Simply by standing out in nature, I'm reducing physiological stress before I am consciously aware of what I'm even looking at. Yet despite this, we're destroying the natural world, our world, at an alarming, apologies guys, at an alarming and very upsetting rate. We live in a society that kills its grandchildren to feed its children, taking but never giving anything back. It's this recurring theme of instant gratification. We seek to immediately satisfy our own needs and completely disregard the consequence that may have on anyone or anything else. Ignorant to the fact that our health is dependent on that of nature. Connect with it, look after it, be mindful. Mindfulness and awareness. To be mindful is to be aware of all things. Awareness cultivates an acceptance of what is. Yet, in this increasingly distractible world, we're losing that ability to accept what is, to sit with our thoughts and experiences. We latch on to that external stimuli. Whoa, no thanks, don't want to deal with that. Ignoring. Explore your emotions, explore your feelings. Suppression creates depression. And mindfulness isn't this faraway land that we need a golden ticket to get to. It's simple things. Simple things approach with mindfulness and care, with attention to the present and humility. They can provide a portal to transcendence. Thich Nhat Hanh is a Zen Buddhist master. He summed it up beautifully in one of his many pearls of wisdom. Most people find it hard to believe. Simply walking as if you have nowhere to go is enough. Just be. Time is only of the essence if you're in a rush. And to conclude this evening, we have created this material world, a world of excess where more is better, bigger, flashier, more expensive. At the end of the day, all we have is who we are and what we give. So I hope I have inspired you to nurture who you are, explore who you are, care for who you are, but most importantly, be who you are and give back. And with all the pillars we've discussed here tonight, don't forget that we are human. We will mess up, but we must do our best. In doing our best, we are going to live healthy and we are going to live intensely. I'll leave you with a quote from one of my favorite philosophers and musicians, Robert Nesta Marley. He said, live for yourself and you will live in vain. Live for others and all things and you will live again. So on that note, folks, wake up and live, wake up and love. Garamina Mahav.